up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional Man, and we are going through the book of John. We're in John chapter 19, verse 19 and 20. 19 and 20. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and stop the tape, check it out, see what it has to say, and we will answer some questions, man. If you've already read it, we're going to jump into it. What is going on? That's the first question we ask. What's going on? What's happening in the scriptures? And we are at the point of Jesus' crucifixion. We talked about last episode the pain, the suffering, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually that Jesus is going through. But now we're going to talk about some irony a bit. Is that the Pilate writes a title, which is his charge that this is happening for. Oftentimes during the crucifixions, there would be a charge, well, there has to be a charge against them because that's why they're being executed. But that charge against them would either be hung around their neck or some way in which everyone could read it. And as they walked by, the people would see. And this is what is talked about right here when it says Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And what's insane is that it is written in 3 different languages. First off, the language of the people of the Hebrew people, the language of the Hebrew people, so that they could all read it. But then it's written in the language of the Romans in Latin, so that they can all read it. The soldiers and the people who are part of the Roman establishment. But then it's written in Greek as well, which is basically what they say is like the lingua franca, or the language of the common people, where most people who were in that area or in the surrounding area spoke, was Greek. And so everybody could read this sign, if they could read, that spoke of Jesus being the King. Jesus being the King. And what's the irony, which John writes oftentimes in this book, many ironies, and this is one of them, is that though Pilate probably in writing this is trying to mock the Jews because of his pride and his feeling of humiliation in the twisting of him having to actually execute Jesus, is that he writes these things because he continues to say, here's your king. In reality, he did. He showed him their king, because Jesus is king by being on the cross. Last episode we talked about him carrying his cross, and that is the instrument for which he is being glorified. Jesus is being glorified and being lifted up as king through the cross. The means by which the kingship is displayed and made known and manifested is through the cross. And everybody gets to hear it, because it is written in a language that, in all of the languages that people speak in that time and that place. Man, I think I've been reading some books, and in those books it talks about how Caiaphas prophesied that it's expedient or best for one man to die for the nation. And now Pilate is saying the king, this is the king, in every language so that they all can hear. They are speaking more than they even know. They are testifying to more than they even know. So what does this say about God? Well, this is proclaiming the truth of who God is. He is the king. Let's not forget that. He is the king. What's this say about mankind? I think it says both about God and man that we can be used even when we don't want to. You see, Pilate in his writing is testifying to the truth of who Jesus is, even though he thinks he's mocking God. But God is not someone to be mocked. And so I moved to this as we talk about our application for the day, is that are you bringing glory to God as Jesus, as he carries his cross because this is his desire and his will? Or are you bringing glory to God despite the things that you do? Because for Pilate, it ends badly. I think he gets overtaken, and the history shows that he is defeated and dethroned. But for Jesus, he is manifested glorious. And so it ends well for him. How will it be for you? Every day, that's what I seek to do, is to grow in the knowledge of who he is, so that way I can walk as he has walked. Because just as he has been glorified, I too will be glorified before the Father and be able to praise and rejoice with Jesus. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I pray that you would walk in the goodness of God as you see his love, man, being displayed here. As you see his mercy being shown and his grace just pouring out through his blood and his sweat, his suffering, but his own will. He is doing this, and that's the thing that John is doing. He is saying that out of all of the suffering and the harshness, this is happening only because he desires for it to. This is his will. And if this is his will, that means we are greatly loved. So contemplate it. I'll see you in the next episode.